Well, hi, Taylor. My name is Shimmy Moore. I'm the producing artistic director at the Classic Theater of San Antonio. And as you know, we're in the middle of producing August Wilson's Fences, which is a really exciting moment for our theater and for the community. We also have two of our cast members here today. Nerryl, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, Taylor. I'm Nerryl Williams. I'll be playing Rose Maxson. So happy to meet you.
And we have Tony Campbell here with us as well. Tony, will you introduce yourself?
Hi, Taylor. My name is Tony Campbell. I'm playing Jim Bono, but they just call me Bono.
Wait. Yeah, so we're so excited to be here to answer any questions that you may have about the show, or where should we begin?
All right, that's perfect. So I do have kind of a list. All of them you guys can answer. Some of them are geared towards like Jimmy and then our two actors as well. But I can just start with the first one if you guys are okay with that.
Sure.
Okay, so my first one is, what did you all know about the play before you started the production? And what were your first impressions that you had? Like, what did you already know going into it? And how has that changed as the production has been going on?
I love that. Y'all want to take that question? Who wants to start with that?
Any money, man? I can jump. So great question, Taylor. This is actually my third time being involved in a production of Fences. So I'm somewhat familiar with the play because of that. This is my second time playing Bono, both here in San Antonio, which is great. But I think Fences is one of the most popular plays from August Wilson. So for those of us who are theater geeks in the theater, I think knowing August Wilson and Fences is really common. So being able to bring this story to life again in 2023 is amazing because it's just as relevant. There's a lot of key points that are still relevant in today's society. So looking forward to doing it again and sharing it with the Classic.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, I'd like to say I'd never seen Fences. I'd heard of it, but I didn't watch it. My family would tell me, don't watch it. It'll make you angry. It'll make you angry. It'll make you angry. And I see why. But after I was cast as Rose, I sat on and I watched the movie and I thought, I'm angry. I'm angry. It teaches you a lot about the things that you go through as a woman, things that maybe you didn't go through, but you saw your mother go through it, or your auntie or your grandmother, and it kind of makes you angry. And that kind of thing still goes on today, and it kind of makes you deal with issues and feelings that you have about those things. And it's a pretty raw story. It's a beautiful story. It's real, and I really love it, and I love how it unfolds, and I love how deep this story goes, and I'm a fan. First time, but a fan.
So for me, I certainly studied this show in school. It's definitely one of the American classics that you get to know as a performer and a theater practitioner of any background, right? It's kind of well regarded in the theater canon. And when I came into Classic, I've been in my position here for a little over a year now. And as I selected my first season, I knew that Classic had never produced a show by a Black playwright. And I knew that absolutely was something that needed to change immediately. I think in the past there had been an organization in town called the Renaissance Guild that was really dedicated to bringing plays by Black playwrights to San Antonio. And over the years, and because of a sort of a change in leadership and things like that, that company does not produce the way that it once was. And so I don't think that Classic ever purposefully was not producing Black plays, but I think that it was giving space to another organization to also be able to bring that to the community without kind of competing in any way, right? So, but there's nobody in town that's really serving the Black community. And I was like, I want to make sure that we're doing that. It was important to me that this year we provided plays that were authentic to the cultures that were in San Antonio, while also doing plays from the traditional white canon that could be cast in a multicultural way, right? I think it's about both of them. I think it's about offering stories that are authentic to various cultures and giving people from all cultures the opportunity to do shows like Shakespeare, to do shows like Peter and the Starcatcher, which is later in our season. But in terms of what I have learned in just my small role kind of as a producer on this, I have just been so inspired by watching the rehearsals for this show, and the design process has been so wonderful. And I think that watching the show come alive has been a really beautiful experience for me. It's one thing to read it on the page. It's another thing to see the characters inhabited by performers who really understand them, and by a director that really is passionate about the project. So I think we have a wonderful team that's working on this, and I'm super excited to bring it to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of answered my next question there. It was like, how did you come across the decision to produce Fences? You know, why'd you pick this play specifically? But like you said, just to have that kind of representation, correct?
Absolutely. I think the representation was important, but I also think that this, as much as this is a story about a Black family in Pittsburgh in the 50s, it is a story that anybody can relate to. It's a story about a father and a son, a husband and a wife, a member of his community and the community at large. It really speaks both to, I think, Black culture and also to America in general, right? To what it is like to go after the American dream and maybe not get there. You know what I mean? And what do you do when you have not succeeded in the way that you were hoping? And how does that affect the rest of your life and your relationships in your life? Yeah. Do y'all want to talk about that a little bit, or what you've experienced?
Yeah. Well, for me, thank you, Tony. For me, I have found out a lot of things about myself. It helps this playing this role. You can't just memorize lines and come out and say them. You really have to come from a place inside yourself and become vulnerable in areas that you really kind of want to keep pressed down and covered up and hidden. And it's a real thing, and I'm grateful to. I don't even know how to explain it. I've become vulnerable. You kind of go out there and you bare your heart, and I'm grateful to Jimmy for even giving us the opportunity to do this, because there's a story. We all have stories, and sometimes we just won't tell them. Nobody knows. They just see the outside of you. They don't see what you've really gone through. And this story is kind of the down and dirty of what we all go through and things we've all gone through. And we get to, Jim Bono and Rose Maxon and Troy, everyone on the stage, we get to kind of dig down deep in ourselves and pull out parts of us that we really kind of, a lot of times, don't want people to see. And we're grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah, I'll just echo Nerryl and Jimmy. We're super excited for this opportunity. I think it's important to tell these stories. I think it's going to help the audience to see that if you are Black, you're going to recognize these stories when you see them. If you aren't Black, you're going to recognize these stories when you see them, right? Because they're universal. And it just shows our shared humanity, which is so important right now. So excited about this production.
That's awesome. You guys are very well said when it comes to that kind of thing. Kind of going off of that, how people are what they're gonna feel when they see the play. Like, what is one thing that you want people to take away when they leave the play after they experience it? What do you think is gonna stick with them? What do you want to stick with them?
Nerryl?
You first? Oh, okay. Well, for me, I want women to walk away seeing the power that they have, not from other people, but just within themselves. My character depended on her husband for a lot of things. And then when crazy things happened, she had to kind of dig down deep and figure out who she was. And a lot of women will probably, and if I was sitting in the audience, I'd be one of them, will be going through something, who knows what, that they will have to dig down deep and figure out who they are and make decisions and stand on them and find who they are and find that strength that's really deep down inside of themselves, because sometimes sometimes you're falling and you have to grab onto something, and we all have it in us. And so I'm really hoping and praying that women walk away, men, even children, whoever comes, walk away from this show knowing that they have a strength that they really didn't know they had until they see this story.
Yeah, it's kudos. I mean, agree with everything that Nerryl says. Particularly, I think one of the strongest messages is to actually see the strength of women in general and Black women in particular. I think that really comes through in this. I think some other things is like there's struggle. I think people are going to see a struggle on the stage, and I think folks can relate to that as they struggle in their day-to-day life, trying to reach their dreams, trying to reach whether that's in sports or in their career, and just how sometimes you get knocked down from those dreams, or somebody tells you you can't do something because of the system that you kind of operate in. I think people will see that. They'll see friendship, they'll see love, they'll see fun, but they'll see tragedy too. And so I think it's really going to leave people thinking and reflecting on, they'll see themselves in the characters, I think, in some way, and how they can make different choices, hopefully, and avoid the fate that the end of the play brings.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that too, and I wholeheartedly agree with everything that these two super talented performers are saying. I think people will leave with all of this and more. What I hope that people realize, though, is that they are seeing a piece of live theater in San Antonio with local performers. And I hope that people leave this realizing that they have just had a beautiful experience at a live theater venue that required them to leave their home. This was not on the TV. You know what I mean? You had to go out into your community, engage with and breathe the same, experience and emotions that everybody else is breathing together in that live theater venue, and realize that you're not going to get that anyplace else. And I hope that they see this and they think, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back and see this. I'm going to come back and support more theater, not only at the Classic, but at the Public and at Magic and at Woodlawn. I hope that that people see this and think, yeah, San Antonio has this. They have the ability to do great theater, and I'm going to support. I want to be a bigger part of this community and respond by buying tickets and telling my friends and following on social media. I hope that this show rejuvenates the passion in San Antonio for live theater that I know is there. I hope that people get inspired by what we do and want to come back. Because I think that that's so important right now. I think so many theaters are struggling with that, and come out and see us. We're different than a movie. You are going to get something out of a live performance that you cannot get sitting on your couch watching TV. This is happening right in front of you in a very magical and engaging way.
Absolutely. I've gone to a few musicals, local ones, churches have put on my schools, and it's absolutely nothing like being in a movie theater. It's so different and surreal and magical. So I completely understand that. And I'm really excited, and I'm excited for everyone else to see that as well. Moving on to some of my other questions. I guess what kind of scenes that you guys have done? As you said, there's a lot of struggle in the play. What scenes are the hardest to do? And like you said, you kind of have to relate to your character in that way. I know you said that you relate to her as a woman, as a Black woman, of course, and some of the struggles. And so just what kind of scenes are like that? What kind of experiences are you facing on the stage when you're going through that, and what makes them difficult, I suppose?
That's a very good question. Difficult. It's difficult to know you've been betrayed. It's difficult to know that the person you love will not live forever. And you're kind of made to deal with, to look at death straight on, and how you're going to survive, how you're going to make it, how you're going to live, to look at trust that's broken and decide, am I going to die here, or am I going to get up and am I going to move forward? And I know I'm not the only one sitting in this panel, and probably sitting in the audience, that has had trust broken, or has had to deal with death, and had to figure out how I'm going to move on from where I'm at right now. Am I going to just curl up in a ball, or am I going to get up and I am, and dust myself off and learn from this? How am I going to deal with this? And so I've learned a lot about myself in this character, and what I think I would think differently, and maybe even act differently, because I don't want to give too much away, but just come out and see, Taylor. Just come out and see.
Yes, absolutely.
Rose has to do. Yes, don't miss it. I don't want to tell you too much, but yeah, just come out and see. I've learned a lot about myself, and Tony.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think this is like true. While we're rehearsing on stage, there are scenes where we are seriously cracking up laughing as we do the scene, like we're crying, delivering the lines, and we're really laughing. And then there's times where I know between Nerryl and I, we're really crying, like on that stage. So that is like the pendulum that we're swinging as far as the range of emotions that happen on that stage. I think the hard thing for me is to see, there's so many people I see in Troy, in that character. Like he represents so many people that I see, and to see him make the choices that he makes is painful, especially for my character as his friend. Like watching him make those choices, even though we've warned him, he still makes these choices. It's that's a painful thing to see. And I kid you not, this play takes a lot out of us emotionally because it's packed with so much. So doing this work it takes a lot of energy, but it's going to be great. So make sure you come out there and see it.
Absolutely. Something for you, Jimmy. Like we were talking about before, like the kind of representation and just like the story being told. What exactly do you think about Fences makes it stand out from the past productions that the Classic Theater of San Antonio has put on? And I guess what are you most excited for the audience to feel and stuff like that?
I think that one of the things that I have encountered since I've been here, and something that I think has always been an issue for the theater to deal with, is what defines a classic. Because I think that's a moving target. And I think that no matter who you ask, you are going to get a different perspective, right? There are some people that you might ask, that you would ask, what is a classic? And they're going to say the Greeks and Shakespeare. Ooh, I'm getting a call. Just kidding. I hope that goes out to our studio audience. I'm busy, y'all. Okay, there are some people that might say the classics are just Shakespeare and the Greeks. You know what I mean? There are some people that would say, oh, the classics stopped before 1900. What I think is that, and what I have said before, is that classic theater is a feeling. It's a feeling of universality. It's a feeling of watching a piece and realizing that no matter what your background is, you can understand the emotions and the situations that these characters are dealing with. And I think that when I think about bringing Fences to the fore in relationship to the other shows that we've done, Fences was written in the 80s, right? It's about a family in the 50s, but it was written relatively recently. And I think for some patrons, it's hard to wrap their mind around how a play that was debuted while they were alive could possibly be a classic. But there are some plays like August Wilson, like many of Wilson's pieces, that within their lifetime have been so loved and so followed and so talked about and so studied that they've automatically become classics. And so I think that that's one of the reasons that I am proud to bring Fences to San Antonio, is that I feel that it is, I wouldn't even say that Fences is a new classic. For me, Fences became a classic a long time ago, but I know that there are people that would say this is a new classic, it's relatively recent. So that's one of the things that I think that we are now expanding the definition of what classic theater is, to include more people, to include more time periods, right? And just to be able, like I said, just to be able to redefine what a classic is, you know what I mean? So that we can bring more stuff, because there's a lot of really great things out there that speak to a lot of people. It doesn't necessarily need to be confined within a certain hallway and a certain year and within a certain room, you know what I mean? For those people that were in those rooms for so many years. I'm excited to bring Fences because it's a terrific show. It speaks to people, it's universal, and at the same time really offers a glimpse of the Black experience in America. And I think all of those things are things that we need to see right now. So yeah, that's what really I'm excited about. And I love it. I love the show and I love watching them and I love seeing it in rehearsal. And I think everybody else will too. I think that people are gonna love this experience. And we've already sort of started to see that. We've got some sold out performances already. We've got some really good advanced ticket sales. Tickets will also be available at the door. Hopefully, you know what I mean? Get your tickets now. Like, let's make this happen. You're not gonna wanna miss this. I think that it's a really great moment for San Antonio. Also, just really quickly, if I could also just plug the Carver Community Cultural Center. They have been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful partner for us. They, from the beginning, when I first approached Cassandra, their executive director, and said, I wanna do Fences. We don't currently have our own space right now. And I was like, I want to do this at the Carver. And she was like, I like it, let's figure out how we can do this, right? And we've spent the last year or so talking back and forth about how to make this possible, and this would not be possible without the support of the Carver. It's a historic institution in San Antonio. It has been a huge organization within the Black community. I'm super proud that we're even getting the opportunity to be on their stage, and so many, many, many thanks goes to the Carver and for their support of this project from day one, so.
Absolutely. And that was another one of my questions. Like, how does it feel to have already 2 sold out shows? Is it exciting? Is it like really makes you feel good that, you know, this is something that you're really passionate about is probably going to go very well. And a lot of people are excited about it.
For me, I'm just going to say something real quick. For me, I'm like, this makes me feel like we're heading in the right direction. Y'all, how does it make you feel?
Yeah. It made us want to call our family real quick and tell them to hurry up and buy their tickets so they come see us.
Which I love too. I love that.
Right. Well, it also lets us know that this is a story people want to, they want to see people that look like them on stage. And we're here. Let's roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get your ticket, Taylor. I want to see
absolutely.
you in the audience. Okay, girl.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be there. Opening night is the plan.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna look for you.
Can I ask you a question, Taylor? What do you think is or maybe this is a good question for everybody. What do you think is valuable in this? Because Taylor, you write for a student newspaper, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So what do we feel like in Fences is valuable for a student? Why should a student come and see this show? Which, by the way, we do have HEP free student performances on Wednesdays. So if you want to plug those, yes. If you're a student, come see our show for free on Wednesday evenings. But what do you guys think is important about Fences that for a student?
Absolutely. I think UTSA, it's more of like a engineering and like an arts, or not like an art school. It's more like there's a lot of like traditional majors and stuff. Not a lot of kids have those really specific and like niche art majors, and there's not a lot of like things to do with like the classics and things like that. And so I think a lot of kids will be excited to see something that maybe they really valued when they were in high school, you know, when they did theater and things like that. They'll be able to see that in their own community, and they can go outside of, you know, that small UTSA space. And also just the fact that there's so much representation, especially during Black History Month as well. A lot of students of color go to UTSA, of course. It's a very diverse school, and I think it'll really appeal to them to go see themselves represented on stage.
Cool, amazing, yeah. Y'all, Nerryl and Tony, what do you think is important about this for students to be a part of this project?
Well, it's about life, and this is you're coming in, you're watching a play, but these things really happen, and so you kind of can break away and kind of get a glimpse into things that happen. You know, you make decisions, consequences. I mean, you just kind of learn a lot of things that can go on from you lie, you gotta tell another lie to cover that lie. You just tell the truth, you just deal with it, kind of thing. You just kind of learn about life, watching this family, watching this wife, watching this husband make decisions, watching this friend say, man, I love you. I gotta tell you this. you know, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't tell you. You get to see a lot of that kind of thing. And I think it's stuff that you can really take and put in your little toolbox, in your little backpack, and carry around and learn from. It's life. Art imitates life. Take this stuff and use it. Come and get you some.
Yeah, agreed, totally. I think while this is a fictional story, it's set in a real historical context. So I think it's useful for students to come out and see that in the Great Migration. And to quote a line from Troy, when Nerryl comes out and says what we getting into, he says, "I'm telling Lions how good he got it," telling his son how good he got it. And I think these students, when they see this and see how things used to be back in the day, I'm hoping they realize how good they got it and the shoulders that they stand up on as they excel and like reach their dreams in school. Like it didn't come by accident. It's because of people like the Maxons.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm excited to see the kind of reception this gets in the newspaper as well. I hope it, you know, it steers people in that direction to go and, you know, experience what everyone is so excited for and what you guys are putting on. All right. You guys answered a lot of my questions without even me asking them.
These guys
are on top of this. Yeah, I can tell. I guess one thing I kind of wanted to talk about, like you said, it's not exactly what people first think of when they think of like traditional classical theater. Were you nervous at all about like putting on a production like this, and especially when it comes to like the fact that it's such like a respected piece of theater? You know, like there's a lot of pressure that comes to that as well. You know, like what kind of, I guess, internal like nervousness were you guys facing with this?
Y'all wanna start?
I'm still nervous. I think there's an expectation that we're taking up on ourselves because we have this opportunity, because we've had the support of the Classic and the support of the Carver and the support of the community to bring this work to life. I think it's a huge responsibility, and we just want to do August Wilson proud. We want to do our community proud and our city proud. So we're nervous, but we are pumped up and excited, and I think we're going to bring our best. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of language that people will probably squirm with, but the thing is, it's just how we talk to each other, you know, and our culture, you know. And I think every group, every like you got Hispanics, they call each other certain, you know, I don't even know what you would call. I don't know. Help me out here. What would you call it?
We all have words that we use within our community that may not be acceptable outside the community. And some people may be uncomfortable when they see that. That's going to happen a lot on stage. But I think they'll see throughout the story that they'll see it's just the way they talk to each other. And it's not derogatory all the time, although sometimes it is, but not in the way that people outside the community use it. But I think it'll disappear. I think it'll fade away as you go through the play. You just get wrapped into the story, and that's just kind of rolls off your ears.
Right. And it does, but it is there. And so we all have it. We all have it in our own homes. And just a reminder, you're just coming to the Maxon house, and this is how we all talk to each other. And these are the stories we tell. And I'm sure if we visited, you know, like when you go to Archie Bunker's house, I'm not sure, Taylor, do you know Archie Bunker? Do you know?
Old school.
Old school. Oh, Lord. Oh my gosh. So, do you know Archie Bunker, Taylor?
They're like, no.
Oh my gosh.
I don't, but I understand what you guys are saying.
Okay. I just dated myself. I just did that. I do that all the time. I'm sorry, Taylor.
For me, I think that I wanted to make sure that we produced this show as responsibly as possible for the community with the right voices involved. And I hope that we've done that. And we've worked really hard to do that. And I hope that people come. You know what I mean? I hope that people come and support, and that people love it, because I have loved being a small part of it. And it's been very inspirational for me. So I hope that it is inspirational for the rest of the community as well.
Jimmy's a big part of it. He said small.
Yes, of course. So after Fences, what can people look forward to from the Classic Theater of San Antonio, and especially from you guys as well as actors?
Yeah, so you guys have some projects coming up. Nerryl, you definitely do.
I am currently in rehearsal as well for Ragtime at the Woodlawn. So I'm in 2 rehearsals. I just finished a show for a new theater company called Miscast Theater, and it was the cast that goes wrong. It's a cabaret. It's like a backwards kind of cabaret. I got to sing songs that I probably wouldn't be able to sing. I wouldn't be cast for, like Teen Angel from Grease, and the plant Audrey 2 from Little Shop, and things like that. And then after that, I have some things that I guess later I'll get to talk about. Mm-hmm. And then I'll be performing with the Divas of Eastwood coming up as well. Tony?
I think, Taylor, I'm retiring after this.
He's not.
Lies.
I'm just going to sit home and wait for Jimmy to call me, and if he needs me, I'll be there.
For the Classic, we've got an upcoming reading called Bound by Truth that's happening in March. That's by a local female playwright named Sheila Rainier. It's the story of a young woman in King Henry's court. She's, as I said, a local playwright, and so that's really an amazing opportunity for us. There are some Broadway designers that are involved with that project that are going to be sending work in so that she can hopefully take the reading that we're doing onto other theaters in the future and sort of market it to sort of try to get a full production of that. And the Classic has been involved with helping her to workshop that production. So we're very excited to do that in March. And then we're currently planning our production of Measure for Measure that will open in May. So that's Shakespeare's Measure for Measure. Also a really great story about a woman who has to make some very difficult choices in her life, extremely relevant to what's happening in the world today. I think people will definitely see some parallels to our world and the world that Shakespeare has created. And then one of the things I'm most excited about is we have our big free summer musical. This is the very first time we're doing it. It's called Peter and the Starcatcher. And it's the prequel to Peter Pan. And so you get to figure out how an orphan became Peter Pan, and how one ne'er-do-well pirate becomes Captain Hook. And that goes up in July, and that's going to be free for the entire community to come and see. So we'll be auditioning for several of those projects here coming up pretty soon. And we've got some exciting stuff coming up with the Classic. I'm very excited to come to the end of the first season that I chose, and we'll be announcing a new season pretty soon. So.
Of course, that's amazing. I can totally see what you were saying when you're saying that you kind of wanted to do like more, modern stories and that kind of thing, kind of just, your own twist on like the classics, you know what I'm saying? So that's really cool and unique and exciting. Is there anything else you guys wanted to plug?
Come and see the show. Shows are selling out. We run on February 9th through 26th.
Awesome.
We appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Thank you so much. It was good to see you, and let us know if you want to cover anything else in the future. We'd love to talk with you.
Of course, I'm definitely already have the gears turning. Those next shows sound pretty interesting, and I'd be excited to cover those as well.
Absolutely. Well, you stay warm, Taylor. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time then.
Thanks, Taylor.
Of course,
Thank
you guys
Taylor.
too.
Thank you, Taylor. You're so sweet.
Of course, thank you.
Your opening night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Click our logo to subscribe, or click the videos for more from the Paisano. Leave a comment letting us know your thoughts and what you'd like to see us cover next.